The GMTK Jam 2026 just ended. This is the game I made. Before I get started, if you haven't played it yet, please go to the itch page and give me some feedback. Also, I've created a Steam page for a future more extensive version of the project, so please wishlist it. I was pretty excited to see the theme for this year's Jam. I had a few game ideas that I was interested in before going into the Jam. Sometimes one of the ideas can fit into the theme, so it gives me a head start on coming up with an overall concept. This is luckily what happened. I've been wanting to release a climbing game where the level is fairly linear but challenging. Last year I was working on a concept that became the Long Cold, but the project was a mess and I canned it. However, the climbing system from that game still has a lot of potential. Before the Jam, I wrote a simple plan for the Jam's 4-day period. Day 1, I would prototype the core mechanic and some of the level. Day 2, I would work on the art, including the texturing, modelling and some particle effects. Day 3, I would work on audio and polish, so sourcing and integrating the audio. And day 4, I would work on the UI, builds and itch page. So I recreated the climbing system. There are targets on the wall, and if the player looks at the target and holds either mouse buttons, the player will move towards said target. The targets can only be held for a couple seconds, hence the countdown theme. I needed to add an offset when connected to a target so that the character moves towards a place perpendicular to the held target or targets. Day 1 focused around creating a prototype that felt good to play. I used ProBuilder to create the blockout, which I eventually used. And the great thing about ProBuilder is that the meshes have scaling UVs, so texturing is relatively quick. I was always going to choose low poly and low res textures. I'm all about PSX style games and don't think I've achieved something that looks that good in my recent projects. Choosing this style allows me to get consistency across all assets in a short period. The next day I knew I needed to add some risk to falling, so I thought of a rain system that randomly spawns and raises a body of water. So when the player falls, they face drowning if they don't climb out fast enough. I'd say it's pretty forgiving, but it does add some caution to the player's actions. The checkpoint ledges become more important and the falls become more stressful. I added a post-processing volume as a child of the water's surface, so when the surface moves above the camera, the visuals will change to mimic being underwater. I needed to add some arms to the player so they can visualize the climb points they're attached to. I found these really great PSX arms on itch.io by Drill Impact, and I used the animation rigging package to add IK to the arms. I then needed to create an animation layer for the hands so that when attached to a climb point, the hand grabs and releases visually. It could do with some refinement, but does add some believability to the climbing system. So these cubes are the targets in the prototype, and all I needed to do was move the IK targets in the same way. The next job was to create more visually pleasing climb points. Using Maya to create 6 low poly rocks, I added 3 variations with 3 different hold durations, so 2 rock meshes per climb point type. Small, medium and large, each with increasing hold times. I then added a water shader from one of my old projects, which looks great after replacing the placeholder plane I was using before. The next day I focused on audio. At this point in the Jam I hadn't added any audio clips, so I made a list of all the sounds I needed before heading to Freesound to source some cave ambience and rain effects. I recorded some grunt sound variations, there's only 3, and they play randomly similar to the crab sounds. I've heard of another approach where you just use a single audio source and pitch shift the single clip. So maybe I'll try it for the next project. Overall, I'm happy with the audio design, and the feedback has been positive about this element of the game. Sunday was all about cleaning up any issues I had encountered during the earlier phases. I still needed to add a basic menu and simple fading transitions to the two scenes. I still hadn't come up with a name. I made a huge list and nothing was working, and I'm still not happy with the name Cobble Climber, but it was the best I had. I'll probably change it at some point. I still had an empty edge page at this point, so I had to get some stuff together. The logo is really bad, but I think it works with the quality of the visuals. Since the jam, the feedback has been about the visibility of the holds and general accessibility, which I'll address in the future versions. During the rating phase for the jam, I decided that I should release a more extensive version with a sprawling level with more risk, collectible objects, and some sort of narrative. Over the next few months, I aim to make these additions and eventually release it. Since I have a lot of experience now building Steam pages, I got one together in a day, using the images and stuff from the jam. If you have any improvements you think I should make, please drop them in the comments here or on itch. And like I said at the start, please wishlist the game so you'll be notified when the game releases. I'll be working to release a demo before the October Steam Next Fest. Also, subscribe to keep up to date with the project. Alright, see ya.